Have you ever stopped to think about what it really takes for a doctor from another country to practice medicine here in the United States? It's this incredible and honestly often invisible journey. Today, we're going to follow one physician's story, a path that so many have walked, but very few of us truly understand. So just imagine this for a second. In Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, he was doctor, a respected physician, a healer, a vital part of his community. But when he came to America, he became candidate number 482, just a number, an anonymous applicant in this huge, impersonal system. And that jarring shift in identity, well, that's at the very heart of this story. Now, the doctor we're following is named Elias, but his journey, his struggle, and his resilience really represents what thousands of international medical graduates, or IMGs as they're known, go through, all of them trying to bring their skills into the American healthcare system. All right, so first up, from doctor to candidate. To really get what Dr. Elias was up against in the US, you first have to understand who he was back home, the respected position, and the deep experience he had to leave behind. It's a story about a massive change in identity.
I mean, just look at this experience. Dr. Elias wasn't some fresh-faced graduate. He'd gone through 6 grueling years of medical school at Black Lion Hospital. He was a hands-on clinician treating everything from advanced tuberculosis to really complex trauma cases. In Ethiopia, he had absolutely earned the title doctor.
So, now for part 2, the USMLE wall. Here's the crazy part. Despite all that real-world experience, when he landed in the US, none of it mattered. Not yet, anyway. All those clinical skills had to be put on hold. First, he had to face this immense academic hurdle, a challenge that many IMGs just call the USMLE wall. And for anyone who might not know, the USMLE is the United States Medical Licensing Examination. It's basically a 3-part gauntlet that every single doctor has to pass to get a license to practice medicine in the States. For an IMG, this exam is everything. This timeline just paints such a vivid picture of the sacrifice. He shows up with one suitcase and a study guide. That's it. For a whole year, his entire world shrank down to the 4 walls of a tiny room. Forget exploring a new country, his days were just spent battling to memorize thousands of dense medical facts, a world away from the hands-on patient care he knew. And it's so important to get this. It's not just about being a good doctor. It's about mastering a brutal system of test-taking. You have to learn the textbook inside and out, drill thousands of practice questions, and somehow pass these incredibly difficult exams. And even after all that, you're pretty much just praying your score's high enough to get past the automated filters that toss out most IMG applications before a real person ever even sees them.
All right, Section 3, a test of finances. But you know, the academic pressure, that was only half the battle. On top of all that was this equally crushing financial burden, the hidden cost of the journey, which for a lot of IMGs can easily top $10,000 just in fees alone.
And this is where you see a huge disparity. While American medical students can often get federal loans to cover these enormous costs, Dr. Elias had nothing like that. No support system. He had to work odd jobs just to scrape together the money for the fees. He eventually saved up enough money to apply to 200 different residency programs. Just think about that number. The hope and the sheer cost tied up in 200 chances to keep his career alive. And then, this. Out of those 200 applications, 198 of them were automated rejections. The silence from his inbox was, as the source material puts it, just deafening. Only 2 programs were left, just 2 chances.
And this is the kind of advice he was getting from online forums. A really stark message that, for IMGs, the path is incredibly narrow. You don't get to be picky. You apply where you might, just might, have a shot.
So that brings us to Section 4, the match. After all the sacrifice, all the studying, all the rejection, everything, it all comes down to one single high-stakes moment. This is the turning point of the entire journey. This is the match.
Yep, after years of work, months of isolation, and literally hundreds of rejections, it all came down to a single week. To be specific, a Monday morning at exactly 9 a.m.
And then, there it was, the email. Just 4 words that changed his entire life. He'd done it. He called his mother back in Addis, and they just cried together on the phone. A lifetime of work, all validated in a single instant.
But matching, well, that wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. It was a new beginning, filled with a whole new set of challenges. He was starting a temporary, preliminary year, facing these grueling 80-hour work weeks. The experienced doctor from Ethiopia was suddenly the clueless intern, having to learn this completely new, complex language of American insurance billing codes.
And now for our final section, an American doctor's legacy. Because, just like he'd overcome every single other obstacle, he pushed right through that too. And this brings us to the final, amazing part of his journey, the legacy that he is building right now.
Today, the man who was once candidate number 482 is now a chief resident. He's in a leadership position, responsible for training the next generation of American doctors. The journey has truly come full circle.
So now, he's the one at the front of the room teaching American medical students these core clinical concepts. His knowledge, which was sharpened by experience in a completely different system, is now a huge asset to American medicine. And this really brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. Doctors like Elias, they aren't just filling gaps in the system. They and the thousands of IMGs just like them, who make up nearly a quarter of all practicing physicians in the US, they are its backbone. They're the doctors often working in underserved areas where they are needed most, and they are strengthening the entire foundation of American healthcare.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Dr. Elias made it through this incredible gauntlet, but his story begs a pretty big question. How many other brilliant, experienced doctors, how many more of these potential backbones are still out there, stuck as candidate number 482, just waiting for their chance?